Blessings, blessings, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to Sunday Night Alive. So happy to be here with you tonight. So I'm sighing heavily for a moment because Hurricane Helena just came through and didn't really touch us too much, but kind of devastated, as you know, Tampa, St. Pete, Georgia, Asheville, and we have Hurricane Milton coming through this week. I think it's going to bypass me again. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But my nephew was just here from Tampa, and I think it's going to hammer them again. So I'm so happy to be here with you to remember that we're not the weather either, that we can, yes, so holding a good thought for everyone involved. So, welcome to Sunday Night Alive. My name is Reverend Denise Schubert. I am an ordained Science and Mind minister and currently retired, but streaming to you live every Sunday night at 6 p.m. to talk about spiritual things, things that enhance and elevate our life experience. That's why I'm here. And if you're here, just say hello. Say hello. I'm going to say hi to the people who comment, but I realize that there are people who don't show up here. So please, I'm not ignoring you. Just don't show up on my comments. But nonetheless, I'm glad you're here. I always love to see familiar faces and to know that I'm not talking into a camera all by myself. So on Sunday Night Alive, we come together really to explore topics of a spiritual nature, which enable us to live our lives more authentically, more powerfully, more grounded, to not be so caught up in the world of affairs, though as important as they may feel to you, they are they are really crude and temporary representations of current consciousness, whether it's yours or all of ours. And so tonight we're going to be talking about rules and whether you break them, make them, or follow them. Very topic aligned with my desire that our spiritual endeavors are practical, right? That we, even though the truth is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, even though we're not our bodies, we're not our body of affairs. I heard somewhere somebody say that we're like a Monopoly piece, that in order to play the game of life, in order to be here for our whatever period of time we're here, some of us, I'm 73, so I've been here 73 years. I know people, I have a brother who passed at 20. He was only here for 20 years. So we're here for however long we're here. That it is a blip, it is an in-breath and an out-breath in the history of time. But I do know that while we're here, that we occupy this piece, like on a Monopoly game, right? In order to play the game on Earth, we need a piece. And this is my piece, and you have your piece, and we are attempting to do it as best we can every day that we can. So I'm here. We come here on Sunday Night Live to talk about spiritual things and how that might enhance our living experience. So welcome to Sunday Night Alive. So before we get started, I'm going to speak a blessing on us, which is simply to declare and accept that this time is blessed. And to bless something is to call it sacred or to call it spiritual or to call it good. And what I know in this moment, as we come together in the name and the nature of love, which is the undergirding energy and back of everything, even the things we don't like, even the things that don't look like love. Love is still the undergirding energy. And that we come together to connect heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul, and to think about things that might improve our life experience and improve the life experience for everyone on earth. That's why I do this, and I think we come together tonight really to just pause and breathe for a moment. And so do that with me now. just take a moment and release your Sunday, whatever your Sunday has been, release it. Just take a breath, maybe the deepest breath you have taken all day long, maybe all week long, really. It's rather stressful out there with politics and weather and global warming, and I don't know. It's just a little bit stress producing. But we're here to disconnect from that. So turn within with me to that space and place and dimension within you that is whole and perfect and beautiful and peaceful and eternal and birthless and deathless, that is in some ways untouchable, unharmable, and indestructible by whatever goes on in the world, that you are a holy being. And so it's from that place of our connection, of community, that I bless our time together tonight, our 30 minutes or so, to simply know that all is well, ultimately and in reality, with us and everyone else. Do not be fooled by appearances. Do not be fooled by the news. Do not be fooled that there is a benevolent, uh, universal intelligence in back of all things. And we are that, and we are connected. And so tonight is good. I accept it. We let it be, and so it is. Amen. All right. Um, so, rules. I don't know what made me go here on rules tonight. So on rules, uh, because there are a lot of them, right? There are a lot of them. Rules. Are you a follower, a maker, or a breaker? My guess is we're all a little bit of each. That's my guess in this time. I'm actually probably a follower and a breaker and a maker. I'm probably all three, and maybe you are too. So, practical spirituality means navigating our humanity with our divinity. Because it is true that we do live on earth and we have rules. We'll talk about all those rules in a moment. But it's about really playing the game of life while we're here. And by the way, we're not here very long. I mean, you really must get, if you are not already clear for yourself, because it will alter your trajectory, really, if you can get clear that even as important as your life seems and as important as your life feels, it's not really much in the scheme of things because, history is a long time and we're here for this much time. This much time. Like, I don't know, 73 years, 80 years, 40 years. I mean, in the history, I think last week I was talking about playing a game called Chronology, where it has all this historical information, but you're reviewing history from 767 BC or 1218 AD. And it's like when you really get that there were human beings living thousands of years ago, and there will still be millions and billions of human beings living 1,000 years from now, that our time on earth is so precious and so short that we want to make the best of the game while we're here. So, practical spirituality means navigating our human path with our divinity, like Monopoly. We inherited a piece. You, um, I don't know what the right, good descriptive word is, but you dropped yourself into a body of your choosing, into a culture of your choosing, parents of your choosing, a part of the world you're choosing. I'm pretty sure we could be on another planet if we wanted to, or with different parents if we wanted to. But somehow, this life, as we're living it, is your spiritual path. It is your path to learning, to growing, to becoming, to experiencing, to releasing. It is your path. So that would indicate from the get-go that you are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a haphazard individual who happened because two people had sex 73 years ago, that there's more intention to it, more purpose to it. If you're with a long-term spouse, not by accident, it is a soul call, a soul connection. I like to approach my whole life that way because it makes make sense. Otherwise, it's just all kind of really stupid. So, so when we talk about rules tonight, it's important because, in my view, having been hmm, having been a good girl all my life, obeying all the rules, I've come to realize that we have to be able to discern the rules to obey and discern the rules to break and discern the rules to make. We have to figure out what is ours to do and to do it, even if it means breaking some rules. So we have all kinds of rules. We have social rules. Well, we have personal rules. We'll talk about that first in a minute. We have social rules. We have inherited rules, religious rules, and personal rules. So social, inherited, religious, and personal. And however, to be your authentic self, like your real, like the self that you know that you are, and we all know because we live with ourselves, right? We have this inner voice, the still small voice within us that is the voice of our divinity, which dictates our character. Right? Are you adventuresome? Are you private? Are you social? Are you scientific? Are you philosophical? This is all part of your spiritual heritage and not your human heritage. Though it may feel human, but it's really there's something you came into the world with that is more than all of that. So what we're looking for here, what I'm looking for and really pressing upon you, because that's what I teach and practice, is I want to be who I am. That's all. I wasn't who I am for so many years, like 45 years. I was not who I was. I was my mother's daughter. I was the oldest sister to 7 children. I was somebody's employee. I was somebody's wife or lover. All of that's great, but more importantly is who am I as this spiritual entity, which has no name, but which I call Denise. Who are you, a spiritual entity which has no name, but are called by the name that somebody gave to you, right? My name is Denise. Here's my birth name, Denise Eleanor Shipcott. No, it's a mouthful. But that's my human name assigned to me by my parents. So, but who I really am is not that name, or this body, or my life circumstances, or any of that, nor are you. So, the importance of living your truth, your spiritual truth, is living from the inside out, inside out, inside out, not outside in. And most of the rules that we follow or adhere to or care about are outside in. Really, truly, most of them. In fact, I would say all of them. I don't know that there are any that are not that way. So, so part of our becoming the powerful, creative entities that we're meant to become, and not only that, but also to become happy, like happy people, we have to make some discernments about what that means. So let's talk about our rules. So before I start, do you know, are you a rule follower, a rule maker, or a rule breaker? Do you make rules, break rules, or follow rules? It could be all three, but just, you don't have to answer me, right? You could if you want to on the comments, but just like how do you show up in life? And does that feel authentic and real for you? So let's start. Personal book of rules. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his book The Four Agreements, talks about our personal book of laws. This is our personal rule book. It's the rules you learned as a child, and you learned them from your parents and from whoever raised you up, you learn them. And there are many rules we learned, right? Make your bed in the morning, brush your teeth twice a day, right? I don't know. There are so many rules. Don't put your elbows on the table. Don't talk with your mouth full. Are you with me? These are a personal book of rules that we inherited from our parents and our families. Now, unfortunately, until we wake up, they feel like real. They feel like they're real rules. I want you to know that if you do not make your bed tomorrow morning, you will not die. I just want you to know that. If you put your elbows on the table when you eat, God will not come down and banish you from heaven. These are made up rules, but they're not made up to the degree that they feel real to us. So this is called our personal book of rules. And until we awaken or until we have an aha moment, oh, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Or I can if I want to, but then it becomes choice. Our personal law rule books govern our entire lives, because your parents said, good girl does this, a bad girl does this. A successful person does this, an unsuccessful person does this. And if you inherit those rules and pay attention to them without conscious deliberation, then you are a robot. You are living out somebody else's idea of your life. Are you with me? So this is your personal book of laws. Then of course we have society's book of laws, which is different. It can be different. It's probably very similar in some regards because my parents grew up in America. I was born in 1951. I know, it's really long friggin' time ago. 1951, are you kidding me? I never thought I'd live this long. But 1951, and what was going on in the world in 1951? So what I know is society was at that time afraid of others, afraid of Russians. Uh, my parents happened to be afraid of Mexicans. I don't know why, but they were afraid of other people. So for you and I, there are rules in society, which also, by the way, includes rules about driving. We have traffic laws. We have, well, you get the picture. All kinds of rules for living that have consequences. Of course, your personal law book has consequences too, but society does as well. And your society, depending on where you grew up, if you grew up in Europe, if you grew up in Israel, if you grew up in Pakistan, if you grew up in South Africa, if you grew up in Canada or Mexico, the rules are different based on where you live. But the distinction I'm wanting to make tonight is the rules have nothing to do with God or spirituality. They've got nothing to do with you. They are something about the peace, the monopoly piece that we occupy so that we can live on earth successfully. But I would submit to you that following these rules and living on earth has not led to successful living on earth because we are so fraught with violence and abuse and craziness, cray. So we also have our religious book of rules. I didn't grow up with too many religious rules, but many of you did. Many of you did. Catholics grew up with rules. Baptists grew up with rules. Religions have rules about what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot eat, what you can and cannot wear, what you can and cannot watch on television. I am not in any way saying that these rules are bad. They're just rules. There are rules that have some foundation in either your personal, societal, or religion, but they have nothing to do with the spiritual reality that we live and move and have our being in. They are just human rules for the pieces we occupy on our Monopoly game. Are you with me? And then, of course, we have spiritual book of rules, which are probably different. So different than personal, different than society, different than religion. They're actually the rules of the universe. So one of the rules of the universe is gravity, right? Do not, this is a rule, do not walk off a cliff. Do you understand? Do not do not walk off a cliff. Do not jump off a building, because what will happen is there's a rule that says you will go splat. These spiritual rules are uh, probably the most important ones because they point us in the direction of uh, happiness. They point us in the direction of contentment. They point us in the direction of peace. So, so the rule, good girls make their bed every morning, has consequences. We'll talk about that. Societal rules like don't speed, don't do 90 miles in a 30-mile zone is a rule, and it has consequences like traffic tickets and court or DUIs or jail. There are religious book of rules which says, I like these the least because they're so crazy. Like, if you don't suffer or sacrifice, you won't get to heaven. That's a rule, right? But there are rules, um, which I don't believe are true. But the spiritual rules, which are in back of all of them, is that, for example, the law of cause and effect, the rule that says the world will be to you what you are to it, the rule that says whatever you put out you will get back, the rule that says you're like a magnet, like if whatever you be the change you want to see in the world. That's a like a spiritual rule. So there are consequences to breaking the rules, no matter, right? There are consequences. So, as part of a spiritually mature being, a spiritually mature being, which is what we want to be. And this is not to say, I'm not insulting anyone who doesn't regard themselves as spiritually mature, but part of it is, the bottom line is, we want to awaken to become aware of the game, to disassociate, to separate ourselves with the rules. Just separate. You want to observe them, not be them. So when your mama says to you, don't, uh, children should be seen but not heard, that is a personal rule you inherited, which is not in any way valuable, interesting, or constructive to your spiritually awakened life. You have to get over it. The rule that says children should be seen but not heard is a false rule. So you have to discern that. But in order to do that, you have to separate yourself. You have to be able to see and awaken to the rules that happen, whether they're personal, societal, religious, or spiritual. You have to become aware. So, um, in order to do that, really, you have to become aware. So first, here's the path. On the path of spiritual awakening, and most of us get there through pain. Most of us get there through divorce, through illness, through life-threatening situation, through hurricanes, car accidents. Most of us get there because the rug gets pulled out from under us as a human being, and we're like, shit, now what do I do? Now what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do now. So most of us then we turn within to go, even if we don't believe in God, we turn within in some way and say, God, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? How do I need to have a better life? How do I need to get out of this mess I created? So it's like this wake up moment that says, maybe there's something I don't know, the knowing of which will change everything for me. It's an awareness game. That's it. It's like wake up. So the moment you see with a new pair of glasses, like, hello, like a new pair, once you see, you can then begin to discern in a more um logical, progressive, spiritual way to say, okay, so once you see that it's a game we're playing and you're playing the game by somebody else's rules most of our lives, here's the deal. Most of our lives, we play the game by somebody else's rules. It's just how it is. It's how the world is constructed. It's how Fox News is constructed. It's how our religions are constructed. These are the rules somebody else made. To be a good human being, you follow them. And I'm saying to you tonight, here are the rules constructed by human beings. Become aware of them, become aware of you, and then decide. Decide which rules are yours, which rules are not yours, which ones you want to keep, which ones you want to throw out. Do you want to make up some new rules? Like I have a new rule. I have a rule that says at 73 years of age, I can live my best life ever for the next decade. It's a rule I'm making up that I am not bound by what other people say, think, or feel about what I should or should not do as a woman who's 73 years old. Do you understand? I'm making up some rules, new rules. There's no rule about how you should die. No rule. There's no rule that says you have to languish and suffer in a nursing home or you have to get a life-threatening disease. Many masters, spiritual masters, they truly kiss their wives and children and grandchildren good night, and they say, I'm done now. I'm leaving tonight, sweetheart. Thank you so much for a wonderful life. And then they go to bed and don't wake up. There are no rules. We can make our own rules. We can break the rules that are already there. I mean, who says you can't have, who says you can have dessert before you eat dinner? Who says you can't have bacon, eggs, and pancakes for dinner instead of breakfast? Who says those things? You do. You say those things. So so we want to learn how to play the game of life as a spiritual being in a human body, becoming aware of what the world says, but understanding that the authority, the true authority, is inside, not outside. So, do I obey the traffic laws? Of course, of course. And why? Because if you speed, you're going to get a ticket. I don't want a ticket. So I don't have to speed to prove anything. So therefore, I don't speed when I drive, and I haven't had a ticket for 30 years. Right? I don't drink and drive because it's really stupid to drink and drive because you're going to kill someone or yourself. So you look at all these rules, personal rules, society's rules, religious rules, and spiritual rules, and you, as a powerful co-creative being made in the image and likeness of the intelligence that governs this universe, you decide which rules am I going to break, which rules am I going to make, and which rules am I going to follow. And then, of course, there are consequences. There are to every rule. I mean, if you step off the cliff, whether you like the rule of gravity or not, you are going to go splat. If you speed, you might get a ticket. But if you don't make your bed in the morning, nobody really cares. If you have breakfast for dinner, nobody really cares. So my point tonight, my spiritual lesson tonight on Sunday Night Alive is to wake up to your true identity, which is a spiritual being living from the inside out, occupying this body, this monopoly piece that's navigating life, and become aware of the rules that you believe are true and real, to reevaluate, and for the sake of your aliveness and your beingness and your authenticity, choose the ones that you choose to follow. Choose the ones that you choose to break, and choose the ones that you choose to make. Yes? I say yes. Do you say yes? Yes, of course. All right, so that's the lesson for tonight. Rules, make them, break them, or make them, break them, or follow them. Your choice, because you are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience, and you are amazing and powerful. So good. So I'm going to pray with us, of course, as I always do. But before I do that, let me just say that I am. This is today is Sunday, October 6th. We have 2 more Sunday night lives before I leave for South Africa for an extended period of time. I will be streaming to you live from South Africa starting on October 27th at 9 a.m. Saturday mornings Eastern Standard Time. I will remind you again, and I will also send out emails. If you're not on my email list, please go to my website and sign up. That's deniseschubert.com. Also, I want to thank you, many of you who have ordered canvases. So I'm doing a little personal fundraising to continue streaming in South Africa and really to support me. And I'm doing, I'm going to show you, you can donate to my ministry, and you will get in return a beautiful 16 by 20 canvas. Thank you so much for those of you who have already done that. Let me show you some quick pictures. I have 18 of them out, which are my award-winning favorite photos. We have giraffe and lions. We have frogs and elephants and crown cranes. And all you need to do really to order these from me is to go to my website. You can go to here, it's deniseschubert.com/canvas order. And you can pick 1 or 2 or 3. Your donation will support the work, the ministry while I'm still in South Africa, and you will get to hang me on your wall, and I will be with you the whole time. So just so mark your calendars that October 27th will be from South Africa. So thank you all for whatever way you participate with me. We've been doing this for years and years now, and I anticipate doing it for years and years more. You will love the stream from South Africa because it's a whole different vibe and a whole different scenario. And it's just my joy to continue to bring us practical spirituality every Sunday or every Saturday morning. All right, so let's just take a breath together. So your job this week, your job always, in my viewpoint, your job always is to be yourself and not your human self, not your neurotic self. And you don't have to give up your neurotic self because your neuroses will survive your spiritual awakening. I'm still neurotic, but not in ways that harm myself or other people anymore. Right? So, uh, so, so keep tuning in and just become aware. You know, Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. And all he really meant, I am sure, is that we are just asleep until we're awake. We're asleep until we're not. We're following the rules until we don't. We're living someone else's life until we aren't. So take the time to explore yourself. Who am I? What are my values? What do I love? What do I want to do before I die? What do I want to accomplish in this human body? And then commit to it with all your heart and soul. And the world will open to you, I promise, in such amazing, wonderful ways. All right, before tonight, let's get you prayed up and prayed out. Oh, so take one more breath with me. One more. By the way, these lion brothers in the background are one of the ones you can order, right? They're beautiful. They were so beautiful from Kenya. Anyway, take a breath with me. Releasing any tension or conflict or concern. Listen, we're all here in Florida releasing conflict, concern. We're so tired of hurricanes. Those of you who are listening from Tampa or St. Pete or Asheville or North Carolina, our prayers are with you as you navigate uh, drying out your lives and getting back on track. And so we do this by turning within. We let the outer world, because you are more than a hurricane, more than a flood, more than your furniture, more than your cars. You're more. We're more. And we have in back of us the entire power of the universe is in back of you. The entire universe wanting to fix everything, wanting to make everything straight and narrow. And so as we turn within together, I simply recognize in this moment the power and the presence of infinite intelligence, perfect wisdom, unconditional love, peace, joy, health, abundance, and to know that we are one with that. It created us. We're never apart or separate. We may think we are, we may believe we are, we may imagine we are, but we are not. You are not. And so I recognize in this moment our connection to each other, our connection to life, our connection to all beings, all plants, all animals, and this thing, this power and this presence that I call God, but you can call anything you want. And it's from that place of community and connection I speak a word for and about each one of us as we go about the business of moving through our days, paying attention to what we're paying attention to recognize that we are learning what's ours and what's not ours, what's ours to do and what's not ours to do, what's ours to carry and what is not ours to carry. And it is so personal and so uniquely individualized to each one of us. Just take the time to examine life for yourself. Who am I? What do I want? What do I care about? What matters to me so that when I am on my deathbed, I am proud and happy and contented with what this lifetime has been for me. That's my wish and prayer for each and every one of us within the sound of my voice tonight. And so I just happily and gratefully release my word into this perfect manifesting law of mind that says yes, that begins to mold my circumstances and your circumstances. And I leave here with you tonight accepting the fulfillment of my prayer for and about each one of us. And so for this and so much more, I am grateful for yet one more Sunday night alive, and look forward to seeing you next Sunday, same time. Please reach out to me anytime during the week if you want prayer. Go to my website to sign up for my blog. Go order a canvas for yourself, and peace and blessings upon you and yours and your families. And so until next time, be well. I love you. And so it is. Amen.